Now, as we learned last week, our approach to parenting has an enormous effect on our child's outlook on life. This week we're discussing the merits of giving our children responsibility through simple chores and how parents should not feel pressure to do everything for their children. Our parenting mentor Sheila O'Malley joins me now to discuss this a little bit more. And that can be a problem. You get so used to picking up and doing everything, and it can be hard to let go. And in fact, you should be coming at it maybe from the opposite perspective, encouraging your children to do their own tasks.
That's it, exactly, Aidan. You know, there's sort of two main types of parents. The good parent, who really does everything for their children, you know, getting them up in the morning, feeding them, setting all the squabbles, almost being like a servant, you know, tidying things away, etc. And really, I suppose what we're saying is, an enabling parent is a better type of parent. Okay. Somebody who really is trying to encourage the child to become responsible by giving them lots of opportunities so they can feel competent and confident. And
it might mean getting up that little bit earlier in the early days as you're letting little Jim or little Jane dress themselves maybe, and sometimes they mightn't get it 100%. But the thing is just to keep encouraging, I assume,
absolutely,
rather than criticising.
It's exactly as you say. So much of the time, to be honest with you, we don't take the time out to teach because it is a hassle and we're under pressure ourselves. So really, it is about that. What I find comes out of courses that I give is that if you get up a half an hour earlier, it can actually alter the morning completely. The house is calmer, happier. You might have had time to grab a quick shower. You're kind of in a better place, and then there's time to find the tie or the shoe, you know, that's under the couch.
It's always the shoe, isn't it? It's always the shoe under the bed or something. What though are our children capable of doing? What should we be encouraging them to do, and what age groups?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I suppose certainly a child of 7 can make their own lunches, and this is something, again, that comes up time and time again, that parents probably dread a child making their own lunch, if truth be told, because the reality is it's certainly something that they consider is going to, you know, the kitchen's going to get ruined or whatever. But they can certainly get out of bed, they can get dressed, they can, you know, organise their lunch.
Lunch the night before, make it evening before, pop it in the fridge. That'd be the way forward,
it takes the pressure off. I mean, all the things that we've listed there. They can empty the dishwasher, they can help you sort the laundry. So many small little tasks, peel vegetables for dinner.
Now, once you get into this routine, it's quite effective and it works very well. Negotiations often get underway soon after. Well, how much am I getting for this, Dad? Is it part of my pocket money or is it something else? What do you do or how do you explain?
Yeah, it's a good question. A lot of times you get asked, you know, do you pay for chores? But the reality is that, you know, I don't get paid for what I do at home. They're part of family life. It's true to say that it's important maybe that your child learns around money and budgeting. So certainly pocket money is good for that. But no, pocket money shouldn't really be tied to chores because we all have to help out at home.
Make the house work.
You make the house tick.
All right. One of the things, just in moving on to giving children responsibility, my oldest is 12, and a couple of years back, all her friends were going through this phase of minding their younger sibling or being left on their own for a while. Most of these people, though, had older brothers who might have been around her sisters.
Yes.
So after a sort of period of time, the only solution we could come up with was we left the two of them there on the pretext that we were going out, but we parked the car around the corner and sat bloody in the car for 20 minutes before we went back and say, well done. It worked reasonably well. But it's not always the case. If they want to do something else, how do you, or when do you say, no, you can't do that, is what I'm trying to say, I suppose.
Well, OK, the mantra, I suppose, that I would use is never do for a child what a child can do or learn to do for themselves.
Things like kettles. Things like kettles and, and toasters.
Yeah. The truth is that you have to take the time out for the learning and sort of be beside them as the best friend. So you first show them how to do it, then you let them do it where you're very, very close and beside them, and then gradually, you know, withdraw, because some of the time they get discouraged and they come up against something that's difficult. So that if you're there beside them, but over time gradually withdrawing, it is amazing what children can actually do. They can be serving you breakfast in bed on a Saturday morning.
There's one to work towards, isn't it? But also they're like sponges. I mean, you can have two sitting in the back of the car in their seats, strapped in, and you let a holler at somebody or something is said, and it'll be quoted back to you, sometimes within minutes, often maybe later in the evening.
Yes.
So if you're aware of that all the time, you can actually have a great impact on enabling your children to learn vocabulary, to learn how to socialise, to learn to mix properly with even their own age group, and dealing with adults.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right. In other words, there's such a vast repertoire of things that we need to teach our children, and isn't that what you're saying, going back to the flower that we had last week? And, you know, when are we going to start to do that? So, in other words, the idea is start from the earliest age to teach them how to behave in public, how to, you know, how to, as you say, dress themselves, all the skills they need, even how to handle their emotions and anger and frustration. And when they see you modelling in a positive way and saying, you know what, I need a minute. I'm just annoyed here, and this is not about you. Just give me a minute. I'm going to make a cup of tea or something like that. When you're modelling and showing that type of behaviour to children, in fact, they're just picking up good cues that they can use for themselves.
So basically, if you were stomping around the house shouting and screaming, you'd expect that sooner or later your siblings or your children are going to bounce around.
Absolutely.
How can you get them out of that habit if they're in it? Is it ingrained forever, or can you do it over a period of time?
Yeah, well, I suppose over a period of time. The truth is that just all of the time as parents, we forget how influential we are.
Yeah.
We're the primary influence in their child, and they're learning from us, and really we're mirroring everything for them. So if you think of yourselves as a mirror, how do you want to mirror? One person who's a positive role model, where you're very positive and encouraging with them, and you're in charge of your own emotions, and you know, you're quite disciplined really in how you conduct yourself in the house, and then the child is picking up from that well, this is the way to be.
One of the things you encourage, and it sounds so simple when you say it out loud, and everybody says, but we do that, but people don't. It's that mornings begin the night before. And it's so simple, but people yet don't embrace that or grasp it. They just would sort everything out in the morning.
No, it's so true. And then you find out in the morning all hell breaks out and everybody's shouting at everybody and you're late and everybody's stressed and hassled. It doesn't need to be that way. So set things up the night before, I suppose, is what we're saying, Aidan. In other words, maybe a list out of what needs to be done before you head off to school, and then say to the children, look, you get to pick what you like to do. So somebody might like to do the dishwasher, somebody might like to set the table for breakfast, and you just stick a page up on the fridge, you call it a star chart, allow them to decorate it. The whole idea is to try and involve your child in these things, and then out of that it just takes the pressure off, and then in the morning there's just less to do, and it makes sense that everybody knows what they're doing and what their responsibility is.
No tears, no tantrums.
No tears, hopefully.
In terms of siblings who are of a close age and going to bed, one has to go that little bit later because they're older, one has to stay up or go to bed that a bit earlier, and little things like that. How do you keep the two happy? How do you explain to the younger one or the youngest one that, look, this is just the way it is? You need more sleep.
Yeah. Well, you know, I suppose the truth is at that age they love the story and they love the time with you. And for many of us, that's the only time that we get with the child and a one-on-one and on a regular daily basis. So I think it's about making it a positive experience, that in fact it's time that you spend with them, that in fact you try to be relaxed and you have the little story and you have the little chat and you hear about the day. It doesn't take too long, but it's certainly something that they enjoy. And then there also has to be an advantage to being the eldest, where you get all this extra responsibility, that they get the extra time.
Okay, I suppose if you come in the evening after a hard day at the office and they're glued to the telly and you get a grunt hello, it's time maybe to think about turning the telly off and having a chat. Yeah,
I know it always seems harder to do, but the reality is some of the time when we're with our young children, in fact, you know, they bring that sort of part of us out that needs to be brought out, which is playfulness and a bit of fun.